sip and converse. Let's sip and converse. Let's talk about it. Sip and converse.
DJ, what's good?
Sip and converse. We back, baby.
Back again. We got my sip ready to converse.
No, that's right. Let me quench my thirst.
Don't tell nobody what's in your cup. Crib, how was your week? DJ, my bad. So y'all may hear me refer to Mr. DJ as Crib, so understand
Crib.
It's always Crib. So Crib, how was your week?
Man, hey, I'm putting in the work. Crib. I signed up. You know, back in April, I ran a half marathon with my girl over there in Knoxville, Tennessee. And while I was there, me and my boy, we signed up to run this full.
Not a full.
Yeah.
What's a full? How many miles?
26.2.
Only 26 miles.
Yeah.
I'm doing this behind the wheel of a vehicle.
You heard me. I said a 0.2. Don't sneeze at the 0.2. That's the one that gets you.
The last 0.2 when you're riding home. You know, they say when you're driving home, most people have a car accident where they probably about 0.2 miles away from home.
Yeah.
Because you get comfortable.
Yeah.
Is that the same in the marathon?
Well, you ain't comfortable. You're just looking for that line. Hey. But I'm geared up, man. I'm supposed to be running this particular marathon in Dayton, Ohio, about 6 years ago, and so it's gonna be an emotional one for me. That's the one that my dad had just passed away, and we just buried him a week before the race, and of course, you know, I wasn't going to do that, so I'm going to run that to honor him. Me and my boy, we're gonna go there and do this full marathon, and we're gonna see, man. So you asked me how my week. I'm putting in the work, man. I'm putting in the work to make sure that I can run this one a little faster than my last one that I ran.
You know, one of my favorite movies that had the tag phrase, "If you're not first, you're last." Ricky Bobby. So I understand that you want to get that a little faster, but it's interesting you talking about, you know, running that marathon, because in that marathon, we're gonna roll right into our topic. That marathon, you know, a storm is brewing.
Oh yeah.
And that storm is on 26.2. I want to make sure I emphasize.
Don't forget the 0.2. Do not forget the 0.2.
So, you know, with the topic of a storm is brewing, what I always want to, know, what does that mean? What does it apply to? Do it apply to life? Do it apply to an actual storm outside that is gonna rain? You know, other favorite movie y'all know is "It's Gonna Rain on Your Head." Can y'all tell me where that movie came from? Where that line came from? It's gonna rain on your head. Color Purple. The little boy's in the crib and look up, it's a hole in the roof.
Okay.
And they trying to fix it. And he was like, "It's gonna rain on your head." So y'all all go back and watch Color Purple. If you're under 25, you might not even know what Color Purple. You might be thinking the stage play. But it's a movie out there for all my people that's over 40.
Yeah.
Called Color Purple.
I forgot that portion of the movie. So okay.
Yep. It's gonna rain on your head. So DJ, storm is brewing. Let's talk about it.
Well, we're gonna talk about it. And Michael James, we're gonna give you a shout out for that phrase, brother, because that's embedded in my spirit. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about
it. Man, you know, when most people, I think, when they hear a storm is brewing, they looking out their windows. Back in Carolina, man, they looking out. They say, "Oh yeah, that cloud coming up." Mm-hmm. Boy, get on here off this porch and get inside the house.
Grandma used to rub them knees. My knees hurt. It must be about to rain.
Yeah. But a storm is brewing, man. In this day and time, the storm that I think we should be thinking about or be concerned about ain't about what's up in them clouds. Mm-hmm. Storm that many people should be worrying about, as my great uncle Odell would tell you, it's about that spiritual storm. That's one key storm you should be concerned about.
Another storm could be personal life and business life.
Woo!
The economy is and business owners might be looking at their business like, you're looking at your personal life, and personal life might be like,
oh man.
But then the storm that's tying that personal life in goes back to your spiritual life.
Show you right. Cause we could probably go in some people's closet and they probably have like 7 to 8 pair of Jordans, but they only have $1,500 in their bank account.
Well, talk about it. As Michael James would say, talk about it.
Man, learned a long time ago. I mean, even before I left home, one of my uncles talked about we should always put something away each month.
Mm-hmm. From a financial standpoint.
From a financial standpoint.
Gotcha. And you mentioned something when we were talking about the storm is brewing, looking outside, seeing the cloud cover. I've noticed that, when you take that analogy that a storm is brewing, it's always signs that a storm is brewing. In the summertime, you got the dark clouds.
Yeah.
Or suddenly the wind pick up, or it's a drastic change in temperature that lets you know a storm is brewing. In the country, when you got open views, you can see the rain falling miles away.
Yeah.
It lets you know a storm is brewing. And I think in people's personal life and in their business life or spiritual life, we just mix that together. The personal cover both spiritual and all.
Absolutely.
You begin to see a sign that a storm is brewing could be increased stress.
Yeah.
Or anxiety. That lets some people that's their telltale sign that some type of storm is brewing. And that lets you know that it can become overwhelming and you really facing some challenges.
When those things pop up, most of the time, we fail to address them, and by doing that, they escalate to some storms that we cannot really control.
You said they fail to address, but even before they fail to address it, I think sometimes when that stress kick in, how do they handle the rising stress?
Well, like I said before, you mentioned that we like growing up in the country in Carolina, you see off from a distance, the clouds and the rain is coming up, so a storm is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And in relationships, you can tell. I've been married almost 35 years, so in relationships with my wife, when stuff's starting to go sideways, being married that long, you see some tensions about. It's developing.
You see the signs.
You see the signs.
Yep, gotcha.
And so instead of waiting till things escalate, why not address those things early?
So instead of it's gonna rain on your head,
yeah,
you get in front of it early.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And let's have a great book that I read probably about 7-8 years ago. I'm sure you're probably familiar with it. Having crucial conversations.
Facts.
And we as a people, we don't want to have those crucial conversations because we might not know how to have crucial conversations, or 2, we might be afraid to hear the truth by having crucial conversations.
3, us men, we tend to carry an ego. I'm right and I know I'm right, but we don't want to actively listen or have that conversation. And for conversation is dialogue between two people.
Yep.
It ain't I'm talking at you. And the phrase that a lot of people do to try to get permission to be hood is I'm just keeping it real. They use I'm keeping it real for the ability to become disrespectful.
Yep.
And then they cover that with saying, well, I'm just keeping it real. No, you keeping it real disrespectful.
Yep.
And if I didn't have the little bit of Christianity in my life, that disrespect could turn to lead to something else.
Yeah.
But oftentimes, with the rising stress, those stress levels can begin to affect, decision making.
Yeah.
It can affect, relationships, your overall well-being because of that stress. But when the storm is brewing, we got to figure out a way as people or a person to, hey, I know this storm is coming.
Yeah.
This is not my first time going through a storm.
Yeah.
What do I need to do to head this storm off? Put myself into a better situation. But oftentimes they kick in with unforeseen challenges.
Yes. And of course, there are things that we're going to not have control over. And then because some storms, like tornadoes, can pop up anywhere. So those type of storms, you're not going to have control over. So those same type of storms can happen in our lives. So in the midst of a storm, personally, we should let the egos go.
Right.
We should learn how to seek proper guidance.
So you telling me my guidance can't just come off TikTok from this influencer? My favorite influencer, can he help me through this situation? Or should I go to Instagram?
How good of a relationship you have with those influencers?
I don't know, man. You know, they got good followers, so I figured they got good followers, they got good lighting, they got a good background, so I figured they must know what they talking about, dog.
Okay. Well, this is another thing that we see happen often is when we're in the midst of a storm, we're gonna go to the favorite person we like talking, sharing our business with, and get our input from them for them to give us guidance. It might not be the best guidance, but we want somebody to stroke.
I'll take it one more. You about to hit on what I was thinking.
Hey, go ahead.
Most people gonna go to the person that's gonna stroke their ego or choose their side.
Yep.
And they're gonna come in and lead with leading conversation. DJ, I know I'm right about this. Tell me what you think. When I start that conversation, I've already told you I know I'm right.
Yep.
Then I'm planting the seeds to tell you what I think I want you to tell me so that I feel right. So I get that fake admiration. That fake, I did a good job, because I really don't want you to tell me the truth. I want you to tell me what I want to hear to make me feel better in this storm.
That's funny you say that. Even when I was a teenager, but in my early adulthood, people used to come tell me stuff, and I didn't tell them what they wanted to hear. I told them the truth. They used to say, DJ, you hurt my feelings. You shouldn't have said that. I said, well, you came to me, so I'm telling you the truth. Next time, tell me what you want me to say.
So I don't hurt your feelings.
So I don't hurt your feelings. Or don't come to me asking me to give you some advice or tell you the truth.
Because when you don't tell that truth, you know what that's called? That's called a communication breakdown.
Yep.
And, it can create that storm of life, whether, personal, business, relationship, friendships.
Yeah.
That storm of life can cause tensions between those relationships.
Absolutely.
And that tension kick up, especially when I'm looking for somebody to pacify my wrong. Because I'm a grown behind man, and you call me out.
You're what?
Grown behind man. I picked that up. I picked up from Coach Deion Sanders, that bull jump. We're gonna keep it rated PG. But I'm a grown behind man, so when you tell me what I need to hear that I don't want to hear at that time, now they could possibly create tension between me and you.
Yeah.
But it goes back to your delivery when you're giving me that message.
Absolutely.
Because yes, we should tell the truth when we're talking to our friends, but it's how you package that truth.
Yeah.
You don't want to be in a situation where you packaging that truth where you got to think about it. You got a kid and they say, Daddy, I want to be a doctor.
Yeah.
And we know that the truth to them graduating in college as a doctor is going to take a lot of work.
Yeah.
But the kid is 10. But you want to keep it real and tell the truth. Well, son, at 10, you're going to need to start studying now. You ain't going to be able to go outside all the time. You got to prepare. Then when you get to college, you ain't going to be able to go to no parties. You ain't going to be able to go to no vacations. It's going to take all this time. You're going to end up with $250,000 in debt. You sure you want to be a doctor? Yes, that may be the truth.
Yeah.
But was that truth the time to deliver? Was that Absolutely. Timing the time you should be delivering that? But it creates the tension.
And I'm glad you made that point. Even though that example you just shared for a 10-year-old,
yeah,
you got some adults at that same type of example. Mm-hmm. You can't release everything to them, because the people or the person you're talking to, we must know the maturity level or the emotional level the stuff that it can handle.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they'll tell you I'm a grown behind man or woman, if we really know who we're talking to, there's certain things we can't deliver to them. We can't unpack everything to them at that particular time.
True. And that comes with the clear and open communication.
Yeah.
And, Bob, I'm a coach. So when I come across people that I'm coaching and we're getting into some tension situations.
Larry, tell the audience what type of coach you are. I don't want nobody to think you talked about Dion. I don't want nobody to think you're a line coach for the Falcons or whatnot.
Nah. In my previous world, I did stay at Holiday Inn Express. I could be a coach on the games, but no, all jokes aside, I'm a certified life coach. I like to call it preparedness coach, helping people prepare the next step of their life, whether it's marriage, business, finance, or when the storm is actually brewing outside, how to prepare for that. But I like to ask them the questions of how would you handle that differently? Because oftentimes we as friends, not just our inner circle, but friends out there in the YouTube world or the podcast world, when our friends come to us for advice, we may know exactly what they need to do. But if we tell them exactly what they need to do, what is that? That's our plan for them.
Yeah.
So now when it's time to execute that plan, if they don't do it, who do they come to blame? They come to blame who? You, because they're going to say, well, I didn't want to do that in the first place. You told me to do that.
Yeah.
No. So you allow them to come up with their plan. So now if they don't execute their plan or they don't follow through with their plan, the accountability stops at who? Them.
Absolutely.
But we like to be like you going back to what you were stating. We like to, you can't always throw up everything to that person. So you got to have that communication. And, with the storm coming, you also need to be prepared. Prepared.
As we wrap up this talk, I know we can probably speak 60 to 90 minutes easy on this. I want you to another huge storm that's been really brewing up probably in the past couple of years, more so in the opening, is the feminizing the male gender, especially here in America.
Should we keep it real? No, just
that's a huge storm right now.
That's a big storm
because it's touching our kids in school
early.
Yeah,
early. And I know people may be mad. I think it comes back to as a young man that I was growing up, to each his own.
Yeah.
I grew up with 3 sisters.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only male. I had an older sister, then it's me, then it's 2 younger sisters. I got a lot of aunts.
Yeah.
My dad was in the house, and my dad would always tell me, come on, boy, get out of this house and get out of women's business. And it really was nothing for me to do outside. He just didn't want me sitting around developing that gossip spirit.
Yeah.
Because, my aunts and mom and them get together. They doing all the lady things that they were doing, and here I am, a little boy, just sitting around gathering up all the information, listening to how they talk about situations.
Yeah.
And my dad would come in the house, hey boy, come outside, help me chop this wood.
Yeah.
I couldn't chop no wood, but I was just there. He wanted me out of that environment. I think I'm thankful for him because I had strong uncles, cousins, male role models in my life to help me understand that it's okay to be a man.
Yeah.
With this cancel culture, many men feel like they can't be a man because they're afraid of being canceled.
Yeah.
They're afraid to walk and talk with the catchphrase, the toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
But then you hear a man be labeled as a toxic masculinity man. But when a female or a lady is in trouble, or she want this man to help carry these bags or do something at her house, or say she's out there getting attacked.
Yeah.
Does she want to be saved by a toxic man, or does she want to be saved by a man that's not so toxic? I'll put it that way.
We already know the answer to that.
So how do we prepare for that storm? We got to start working with our young men early.
Yeah.
And it's not taking away anything that a woman can do to help. I've said before, I have a daughter. It's certain things in my daughter's life that she's gonna come to. That as a grown behind man, I ain't gonna know what to do when it comes to those situations.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, mama, where you at? I don't know what to do.
Yep.
It's the same way with young men growing up. It'll become a time in that young man's life that if his mom is not gonna know what to do for him in that situation. So that's why I always need to have good, solid, not just any man, a good, solid man around your kids if you're raising male children.
Because I tell you what I see with the young men, a lot of the young men now, because of what has already been put in place 2 generations behind me, the young men do not know how to be men because of what society has already placed in 2 to 3 generations behind me.
So basically, based off what society has painted what manhood is.
Yep.
I blame Hollywood for that too.
Okay.
Because when you watch many movies that say display what manhood is, when you listen to some of the lyrics of the rap songs, the mumble rap, or whatever music you're listening to, the agenda that's being pushed teach young men that being a man mean having multiple women.
Yeah.
Being a man mean being able to do what you want to do. Being a man means not taking care of responsibility. What is it? Old school song, Papa was who? Rolling Stone. So when you talk about generations 2 or 3 ahead, that was programming.
Yeah.
But that might be too deep. But that was programming
yeah.
of what manhood should be.
Yes, it was.
And then when you watch the movie Fences, I enjoyed that movie. Was Denzel being a man in that movie? Or was he not covering her or covering the family? Or was he operating in the manhood that he thought this is what a man's supposed to be? Be a provider, put a roof over your head, and not be that emotional. But that's what society teaches.
Yeah, he wasn't very emotional. But again, that's another topic, and we're going to come back to that topic on another session. But look, I want to say thank y'all again for joining us on Sip and Converse. Hey, this your boy DJ right here. Again, you want to be a part of this platform? Hey, hit us up in the DM. We got the Sip and Converse cups right here. We got our t-shirts. We want to be able to come to your city one day and host this platform with y'all, so you can be a part of this platform. Larry, what you got for our people before we wrap up?
As we wrap up, understand that storms can be disruptive, but it can also lead to an opportunity for growth.
Yes. Because
after every storm that comes through a town, that town always recovers.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And with that, Crib, we out.
Bye-bye.
Sip and converse.
Let's sip and converse. Let's sip and converse. Let's talk about it.